My name is Karrigan Mcquay, and I'm attending East Texas A&M University, and I'm studying ag business.
Let's talk about your early life.
Okay, yeah, so my parents and I'm an only child, so we moved down to Texas in 2009. We were in like the livestock business, and so up there it's kind of hard to do some like the cattle and horse stuff when it's so cold and stuff up there. So we moved down here. It just kind of gave us a lot more opportunities, and it just worked out better. And so the summer of 2009 we were down here, and that's kind of where we started. So
what led your parents from Montana to the entire state of Texas, but to Sulphur Springs?
So it's kind of a funny story. So my parents actually had bought a horse down here, like in the Sulphur Springs area. So they came down here, and it was like in January, and it was like 70 degrees. And so they were like, wow, this is really nice. And so they went back up, and it's like, you know, negative double digits up there. And so they were like, okay, you know what, kind of had that idea that, you know, for the livestock business we're in, it's just kind of easier, and there's a lot more opportunities and down here anyway. So my parents, like all of our families from up there, and they just decided to move down here, and it was kind of a fast thing. That was in January, and by the summer we were already moved down here.
Talk to me about that relationship with your parents, your mom and your dad.
Yeah, so being an only child, you know, it's just us three, and but I like it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm really close with both of them. I feel like I work beside them pretty much every day, all day. So my mom is a school teacher, so she goes to school, and me and my dad, now that I'm going to college, you know, the days that I'm at college, then I'm doing my schoolwork. But other than that, I'm always at home, and I'm always doing all different things at the house, and just living my best life. You know, you learn pretty much everything what it takes, you know, raising stuff and training things and reselling it, just, you know, all the ins and outs of it. And I'm glad, because I like the agriculture anyway. Like, I like the people that's in it and stuff like that. So I'm fortunate. I can't think about any other way of growing up, but I just that's all I know, I guess.
At what point were you ever thinking, I want to go to college?
Yeah, I've kind of always had it, you know, in the back of my head that, yeah, I'm going to go to college. But it was kind of always one of those questions, like, you know, how am I going to pay for it? What's the plan? Like, what am I going to do? And like through my childhood, I think my parents always pushed me, like, hey, try new things, like see what you want to do in life. I worked for a lot of different people, like taking care of the cattle and stuff, and then I also worked for a bank, and like those kind of things like taught me, oh, you know, I want to do this, or I need to do that, or I like this, or I don't like this. And so I think through that, like I've always been like, okay, this is what I like, that's what I don't like, and I've always had it kind of planned in the back of my head that, yeah, I'm going to go to college. But you know, again, like college is expensive now, so how am I gonna pay for it? And I actually had a horse accident, and I feel like it really kind of changed everything for me, because, you know, it was like when you're used to doing something every day and then it's taken away from you, you have to like really dig down deep. And so I really think it was just a big change, but also like it made me grow too, and like it just makes you be grateful for what you have every day and the opportunities you get. When I was hearing about BrightStar, I was like, you know what, this is my opportunity.
How did you hear about BrightStar?
My good friend Cash Vidito, he kind of brought me into it. He's like, hey, you know what, he's a recipient of BrightStar, and so he said, hey, you know, you really need to apply for this. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I need to, or whatever, but I was homeschooled, and so it was kind of one of those questions, like, do they even accept homeschool students? And so we found that out, and they were like, yes. And so I got all my stuff ready, and as soon as it opened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn all my stuff in, and I'm gonna give it a shot. I did my interviews, and then when I walked in, they're like, oh, you're the very first interview we've had this year. And so I was like, oh goodness.
No pressure.
Yeah, but so I did that, and it was a huge relief. Like, I felt like after getting done with the interview, I was like, oh wow, that was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
they told you to come back up to the building. What did they tell you? And at any point were you thinking, oh my gosh, what if I actually got it?
Well, that's the thing. So I was working at the bank at that time, and Robin had called me, and she said, hey, I need your transcript. And I was thinking to myself, wait, I thought I already turned my transcript in and all that. And so I was like, this is kind of weird or whatever. So the next day, she's like, well, can you come the next day? And I said, yes, ma'am. So the next day on my lunch break, I went up there and I went in her office and I said, here you go, Miss Robin. And she's like, hey, will you come back here with me? And I was like, yes, ma'am. So I walked in there and she opened the door and here was all the committee members. I feel like it was a big sign of relief, you know, just being like, I felt like pressure was just off of me, like, this is actually like happening, like, this is crazy, and like, this is gonna change my entire life.
What is going to be Karrigan's legacy after this?
I just want people to look back and be like, you know what, she was a caring, loving, trustworthy person. And she worked hard at whatever she wanted, you know, to accomplish, and she went for it. And so that's kind of what I'm striving to do now, you know, through school and doing all my different stuff that I'm doing now. I'm just, you know, trying to keep on pushing forward.